I know exactly what they've been telling you your whole life. Pick a lane, choose one thing, stick with it. You've been told that your inability to commit to a single passion is a failure of discipline, that your curiosity is a distraction, that you need to find your one true calling, or you'll end up as a jack of all trades and master of none. But I'm here today to tell you that the diagnosis you've been given is completely backwards. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not unfocused, and you are certainly not failing. You are what career psychologists are now calling a multi-potentialite. But I prefer a different term. You are M-shaped. And in the next 10 years, while the world is obsessed with building T-shaped experts, you are going to become the most valuable person in the room. The death of the T-shaped career. For decades, the career advice was simple. Be T-shaped. Go deep in one specialty, the vertical part of the D, and have just enough general knowledge, the horizontal part, to communicate with others. Become the best graphic designer, the sharpest data analyst, the most specialized surgeon. This worked beautifully in the industrial era when companies needed human cogs who could perform one task exceptionally well for 30 years. But here's what nobody told you. That world is dying, and the T-shaped expert is dying with it. Because here's the problem with going deep in only one area. The world is no longer asking single questions that require single answers. The world is asking hybrid questions. How do we build an AI that understands human emotion? How do we create sustainable fashion that people actually want to wear? How do we design cities that are both technologically advanced and psychologically healthy? You cannot answer these questions with one skill. You need multiple peaks of expertise. You need to be M-shaped. And in the next 10 years, while the world is obsessed with building T-shaped experts, you are going to become the most valuable person in the room. What it means to be M-shaped. Think of your career like a mountain range. The T-shaped person has one tall peak. Impressive, respected, but limited. The M-shaped person has multiple peaks. You might have deep expertise in psychology and data science, or marketing and neuroscience, or engineering and storytelling. You are not shallow in many things, you are deep in multiple things. And the gap between your peaks, that's not wasted space. That's where the magic happens. That's where you make connections that nobody else can see. Neuroscience backs this up. Research shows that people with diverse expertise develop what's called conceptual blending. Your brain doesn't just store information in separate folders. It creates bridges between them. You start seeing patterns that specialists miss. You solve problems by borrowing frameworks from completely different fields. This is why some of the biggest innovations in history came from outsiders. Darwin studied theology before revolutionizing biology. Steve Jobs combined calligraphy with technology. The breakthroughs happen at the intersection. But why have you been punished for this? Because the systems we built, universities, corporations, LinkedIn profiles, were designed for the industrial era. They needed efficiency, predictability, humans who could be labeled, sorted, and placed into boxes. Your college application asked you to pick a major, not 3. Your resume template has one job title at the top, not a constellation of skills. Every interview you've ever had started with the same question. So, what do you do? And when you hesitate, when you try to explain that you're a designer and a coder and a writer, you watch their face glaze over. You've learned to apologize for your range. But here's the truth. You weren't built wrong. The system was. The M-shaped advantage is already here, and the evidence is everywhere. Look at the fastest growing careers in the last 5 years. UX designer, that's psychology plus visual design plus technology. Growth hacker, that's marketing plus coding plus data analysis. Computational biologist, that's biology plus programming plus statistics. These aren't traditional jobs. They're hybrid roles that didn't exist 20 years ago, and they cannot be filled by T-shaped specialists. They require people who can speak multiple languages fluently, people like you. Even traditional companies are catching on. Google's Project Aristotle found that the most effective teams weren't made up of the smartest individuals, they were made up of people with diverse thinking styles. McKinsey research shows that companies with cognitive diversity outperform homogeneous teams by 35%. The market is screaming for M-shaped thinkers, but most people are still too busy trying to sharpen their single spike. So, here's the strategy. Stop apologizing for your interests. Start building your peaks intentionally. Pick 2 or 3 areas where you want deep expertise. Not 10, not 1, 2 or 3. And here's the key. They should be unexpected combinations. If everyone in marketing also knows basic design, that's not an M, that's just a wider T. But if you combine marketing with neuroscience, now you're rare. If you pair engineering with philosophy, now you're irreplaceable. Spend the next 3 years going deep in these areas, not surface-level YouTube tutorials. I'm talking real competence, courses, projects, failures, mastery. You want to be able to hold your own in a room full of specialists in each of your fields. And then deliberately build in the valleys between your peaks. Read books that connect your interests. Take on projects that require both skills. Force your brain to make those conceptual blends. Because here's what's coming. As AI gets better at narrow tasks, the value of the single spike expert is plummeting. ChatGPT can write code, Midjourney can design logos, but AI cannot do what you do. It cannot combine disparate fields with human intuition. It cannot see the ethical implications of a technical decision. It cannot blend art with science with business in a way that feels human. Your superpower is synthesis, and synthesis cannot be automated. The future belongs to the person who knows multiple things deeply enough to see what nobody else can see. The person who can walk into a room of engineers and speak their language, then walk into a room of designers and speak theirs, and then create something that neither group could have imagined alone. That's you. So here's my prescription for you. Stop trying to pick a lane. Stop listening to people who tell you to focus. The world has enough specialists. We don't need you to become another expert in a single narrow field. We need you to be exactly who you are. But you must be strategic. Build your peaks with intention. Protect your time to go deep. And when someone asks, "What do?" don't apologize for the complexity. Own it. You are M-shaped. And in a world that's increasingly complex, you are not scattered. You are essential. Now, if this resonated with you, you're probably also the type of person who struggles with traditional productivity advice. You know, the kind that tells you to do one thing at a time when your brain is wired to think in constellations. If you want to understand why your brain works differently and how to build systems that actually support your multidimensional thinking, click the video right here. I'll see you over there.